Sure, dieting is very rewarding and it comes with all this great feelings and whatnot. But there are some realities of dieting that coaches don't often tell you about. But we're going to tell you in this episode.
We'll keep it 100.
Absolutely. So, welcome back to the YouTube Mr. Strong, Mr. Tickle. Mr. Tickle, Mr. Strong. My name is Mark.
My name is Emmett.
And in this episode, we're going to discuss the realities of dieting that coaches often don't tell you about.
Yeah, and I suppose the first one is that most people don't realise you're going to be hungry. Number one, you're going to be hungry. And number two, you need to be hungry.
Kelsa breeze, shock horror.
Shock horror.
Yeah. Often the time you hear of these online coaches telling you that, oh yeah, you can eat all the foods you love, or you don't need to be starving in order to lose body weight or body fat even. That's just not the reality of the situation. It's, in our case, we're just after going through a 10-week photo shoot prep where it was basically an extreme diet.
Yep.
And we often found ourselves very hungry at times.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean that you need to be hungry 24/7
No.
or you need to starve yourself. It means you need to be smart with your choices, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose sometimes the hunger increases as the diet goes on, and the longer you're in that diet, coming towards the end of it, hunger is going to be elevated because calories are going to need to be at their lowest generally towards the end of your diet phase. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously at the start of your diet phase, you're going to be in a deficit, but it's not going to be too severe of a deficit. And then as your weight drops, when you start to maybe see a little stall here and there, calories drop a little bit further, it's extended, you could be 10, 12 weeks in, and eventually at the end of it, you're quite hungry. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. And we don't always have to be full. And there's obviously lots of stuff that we can do to maximize fullness, but accepting a little bit of hunger is necessary.
So those things that we can do to maximize our fullness will be basics for us, but for somebody who, say, comes to us that doesn't have much of an education with their nutrition, say, don't know the likes of the impact of having a higher protein diet, trying to get more fiber into your diet, maybe prioritizing your carbohydrates in and around your training. So if you're training earlier in the day, say before work, making sure that you're getting some sort of carbs before and after that training session to get the best, first of all, out of your training, and second, to try and keep you energized throughout that morning period. Whereas if you just went in starving, like we were saying, you don't need to starve yourself all the time, but you're probably not going to have a great workout. You'll feel like shit, and the cravings are probably just going to be rapid as a result.
Yeah, and I suppose just a few other things that you can do pretty easily to like maximize fullness and minimize hunger is prioritize your sleep. Like get 7 to 9 hours sleep. As simple as that sounds, most people don't do it, and if you're sleep deprived, you're going to feel a little bit hungrier, and you're also going to make poorer decisions with your food. And then another one is like definitely training smart, not training too frequently and not overdoing it. And I had this conversation with a client yesterday who was talking to me about excessive hunger, and then we were talking about her step count. It's up around 20,000. I'm like, well, your activity has massively gone up, so therefore your hunger is going to massively go up. So all the boxes need to be in check.
Yeah, and finally, hydration as well, especially with this warmer climate rather. I know it's hard to believe in Ireland, and we're sweating.
For all 4 days.
Yeah, and we sweat and you're sitting indoors, but just staying hydrated in between meals as well will definitely help you just feel that little bit fuller. So that will be the first point I'd be looking at there. So you are going to be hungry. Next one then we would be looking at is something else that's prevalent on social media, but you're not going to be able to eat all the foods you love.
Unfortunately not, and you're going to have to say no a little bit more often.
I would have loved the Chinese every Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's something that I enjoy doing, like with my family. Generally, when I'm not in a diet phase, is getting a takeaway every week, right? I look forward to it. We sit down together as a family. It's lovely and all that. But I had to say no to that for a while I was in that diet phase. Now I'm out of the diet phase. I'm getting a Chinese tonight, which is great. But I had to, like I said yesterday on Instagram, ride the horse until the finish line and make those sacrifices until the goal was achieved. And now that nice, more enjoyable stuff can come back in.
But you don't need to be a miserable prick in a diet either. No. Because that's something I often find with clients, because the people have family traditions. I myself, we would have that. We'd have a takeaway or something. So what we can do is just be a little bit smarter. Say, for example, we are going out for a meal at the weekend. We can go find somewhere that maybe I can get steak, veg, and mashed potatoes on the side. Single ingredient foods. Still going out, still socialising, still enjoying myself. I have to make the trade-off. I can't just eat the butter chicken or the spice bag.
3 courses, starter, main course, dessert, and a few drinks.
Yeah, but that's the trade-off. So being smart with your choices when you're going out means you can still live a life.
Definitely.
But at the same time, you're not going to be able to squeeze in the cornetto every day. You're not going to be able to squeeze in the 3 beers every single weekend. You're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I think we showcased that fairly well throughout our prep as well. Like, we had so many different things going on. You were away on holidays, loads of different flights. We were both over in Nottingham for a weekend. I had hotel stays. I was factoring in sometimes Sunday dinners here with the family, having a roast, spuds, veg, like you said. Being able to factor all that stuff in and still get a result, but we can't have it all. We can't have our cake and eat it.
No, and that's the realities of dieting and dieting effectively as well, which leads us on to our next point, which is training is going to take a dip, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you're going to just become weak as water? No, not overnight anyways, that's for sure.
Definitely not. And I suppose it's similar to the hunger thing. The longer you're in the diet phase, the more weight you drop, the more your calories drop, the hungrier you get. The longer you get into it, the more of a slog your training becomes because you're a little bit weaker, because calories are lower. You're also lighter. But again, I think we showcased that through our prep. We didn't really get weaker, and we stayed progressing our training and putting a big emphasis on that until probably the last week or two.
Pretty much, yeah, as we were building up to that peak week set,
exactly,
where the cardio was at the highest, my calories were the most restricted, and I kind of mentally was preparing myself for the shoot more so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still got all 4 sessions in every single week, made sure that I prioritised my carbs in and around to give myself the best opportunity so I didn't feel like shit in the gym. But yeah, there were certain exercises that didn't feel as good as they would have, say, when I had 5 extra kilos on me.
Yeah.
But making sure that we're doing our best to preserve our muscle during this prep by maximising our protein intake, sleeping like an adult that we are, not doom scrolling till 1 o'clock at night, staying hydrated, carbs. It all ties in together. But the reality of the situation is we will experience dips in energy, dips in intensity in the gym.
Yeah, and not even so much like the training always having to suffer. You may not want to actually train. And that's when you need to just follow the plan and not your feelings, because there's going to be days similar enough to when you're in a gaining phase or maintaining, whatever it is. There's going to be days where you don't want to train. Just suck it up and get in and do it.
Yep, and that ties pretty well into the next point, that your energy also is going to take a dip. So not even in the gym, outside of the gym, your focus at work, your focus even with relationships, you wouldn't even think it. But when you're sitting there, you mightn't feel as present because maybe you're a little bit hungry or you're tired and stuff.
I found that even with the kids, throughout the prep, and I tried my very, very best not to let it impact them in any way, shape or form. When they asked Daddy to play, Daddy gets up and plays. And there was some days I didn't want it. There was days Maya and Joshua had me out there in the garden, carrying them around on my shoulders, playing catch with them, jumping on the trampoline. Stuff I had zero interest in doing. Same, I didn't have any interest in training some days because energy was low. But I just got up and gone with it.
Yep, that's your job, as Roy Keane would say.
Yeah, and sometimes we can make it sound a little bit like that. Oh, it's this simple, and it's meant to be that simple for us because it's our job, and we're doing this for donkey's years. Like, it's not that simple for most of the people listening to this, but yeah, I suppose the key message is you need to work hard, and if you want results, you have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, so knowing that going into this prep as well, or just even into any diet in particular, there are going to be times where you will notice a dip in energy, and just understand that that's fine. Like, you don't need to be 100%. I even notice it from clients in the past, say, where, or myself included, if I'm not feeling 100%, I'm not going to train today.
Yeah.
No, that's
not every
the point.
session has to be an unbelievable session where you're smashing PBs, like.
And they're not going to. Going in with the expectation that every session is going to smash PBs, or you're going to feel your absolute best, or you need to be 100%, or else you don't show up. That's the whole point of consistency. as fucking preachy as it sounds.
Yeah.
But showing up when you don't really want to, or being present when you would rather be stuffing your face with a Chinese. All them bits add up, and that's the consistency, really. So expecting yourself to have 100% energy during a diet, that's just not realistic.
No.
And that brings us to the next one, where you're going to have to say no to social events.
I had this conversation with a client last week. She's a new mammy, right? And you know when you have a baby and there's people coming over to the house and they're bringing stuff and they're going out at the weekends, you want to have a glass of wine and all this crack. And I actually just said to her, like, I've coached her before as well, and I can be nice and honest with her. You need to say no a little bit more often, right? And when like that, her main goal is weight loss. And when you want to lose weight, you just have to say no a little bit more often to these things. Do you have to say no all the time? No, but you do have to make some sacrifices. And the more sacrifices you make, the more progress you're going to make.
Pretty much. I notice now myself, like I said, not a huge drinker, but it's summer when maybe the lads are in the beer garden, the World Cup is
Cup's on, yeah.
A lovely pint of Moretti there, how bad? Be lovely. But if I was to say to myself, I'm dieting, but at the same time I'm going out sculling 5 pints every single weekend and saying, oh, it's only the 5, I can factor them in, I'm just exasperating my situation when I don't need to be doing that. It's like just adding fuel to the fire.
Pissing up a downpipe.
That's a good way of putting it.
Basically.
You're always good at the phrases, so you need to come out with a little phrase book. Always the one you're kicking a snake in the tire.
with the pinty shoes, kicking the eye out of a spider.
Jeez. You bring out an ebook of that. Don't mind the rest of the ebook. Jesus. But like that, there are occasions where, like that, as I said, I would have loved to have the 2-3 pints with the lads watching the match. I was sitting there with my waddy. 2 of my best friends had a joint 30th. So we've been in the same pub in Ballacalla in Quake O'Leary's for their 18th, joint 18th, for their joint 21st, and just a couple of weeks back, their joint 30th.
That's mad.
And here's me sitting with my waddy out in the beer garden.
Yeah.
Soak it up.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
And I think that's another thing that people don't realise as well, is it's just a temporary thing. We're not asking you to say no to these things and to make these sacrifices forevermore. Just fucking do it until you reach your goal. Like, so many people half-arse it and get mediocre and bang average results and then go back to having a free-for-all. Set a goal, set a deadline, make those sacrifices, say no more often, get your goal achieved, accomplish it, like set out to do it and actually do it. And then all of that more enjoyable stuff will come back in, like me and Mark are showing now after our shoe preps.
And that's why EM8 is just going to be so helpful in September. Like, everyone will be back to routine, back to school. And that is, we all start on the same date. We'll have 8 weeks to really drive it on. And by the end of the 8 weeks, that'll bring you straight up to Halloween. So ended up celebrating that weekend. It's actually that weekend.
Fancy dress.
So you'll be wearing the Superman
I'll go as
costume.
Mr. Strong, he'll go as Mr. Tickle.
Or I'll go as Batman, you go as Robin.
Rodney and Delby.
That's more like it, yeah. But that is the main thing I'd be looking at anyways when it comes to dieting. Rather than this fairy, I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, just do it. Say no to the social events that you don't really need to be going, or else just making the trade-offs like that. Tonight I'm going to drive to it. I'm not going to drink.
Yeah.
It'll just mean you get to eat more food quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the realities of
Yeah.
it. Whereas most social media or coaches in general will tell you, oh, you can factor in all that stuff. Oh, it's fine, have the drink at the weekend. No, fuck it. Why don't you just say no and get past this dieting phase once and for all, rather than Mickey Mousing it for 6 months.
And have a fucking 10 or a 12-week diet phase instead of a 26-week diet phase.
Yeah.
Get in and get it done.
And I think we did a really good job of proving that in the last 10 weeks.
Roll the
sure.
sleeves up and fucking work hard.
Yep. And that brings us to our final point, that it is hard to diet. None of this is easy, and we understand that. We just said our diet there, it wasn't easy. But having no plan or having no timeline or not planning a week in advance, not even planning a day in advance, shooting yourself in the foot.
And it is hard, but it's worth it, do you know, and anything that's worth doing isn't really easy, to be honest, like, do you know, and I think we kind of showed that as well throughout, and we were like very honest with our weekly updates and how they were going, and there was weeks we were hungry, and there was weeks we were a little bit cranky, and there was weeks we didn't really want to train. And it's hard for us as well, like, even though it is our job, there's still times where it's hard. And you know, it was great for us to go through this kind of diet phase as well, and again get that little bit more relatability, I suppose.
Like this morning, I didn't really want to train.
Yeah.
I have another couple of days to go. I have my second photo shoot next week in Manchester, and so I've spent this week dieting straight after that shoot. And yeah, this week I'm feeling it a lot more, I would say.
Yeah, and I like that. Even I found this week a little bit hard, and my calories are right back up. So it must be pretty hard for you with calories still being low, and you know, but it's a slog, but you're just there.
Yeah, we're almost there, and me knowing that there's an end date, that's what's getting me through. If I didn't know I had the photo shoot next week, or if I had someone just saying, oh yeah, do 2-3 more weeks of diet and see where we go from there, I'd be like, fuck off. Because I made a Chinese tonight, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. That's the joys of having an end date.
And that is the realities of dieting in a nutshell, in those couple of points.
Pretty much.
So if you did enjoy that video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And just another reminder, if you do want to find out more information about EM8, our group coaching, which is launching September 7th, that is in the link below. And that's the only place that you can get it for the early bird sale and at the early bird rate as well. Because by the time the general public sales come out, it's probably going to be sold out.
I'm calling it here now. It won't be going out to the general public. It will be selling out.
Well, there you heard it here first.
And that's confidence, not arrogance. I'm confident.
Good.
Yeah.
So make sure to get on that, and we shall see you in the next episode.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace out.
Peace.